Welcome back to my channel. So for this particular video, it is about how to beat Bitcoin, even if you're a dummy. It's how to beat Bitcoin for dummies, how to get rich from crypto for dummies. So I put myself in this category. There's this huge group of people right here that say, invest only in Bitcoin. Most of the alts dump in terms of Bitcoin. Well, I'm going to say they are correct. But this guy and this guy share something in common. They say some of the alts beat Bitcoin. So I've never advocated for investing everything in one coin, which means that if I pick 10 coins, let's say 10 coins, and if majority of them fail, you're going to look like a dummy, even though you're going to outperform this guy. You're going to outperform most people as a dummy. That's the point of this video. The point is, where you look like an idiot later, that's irrelevant. The goal is to perform. That is it. That's all that matters. You're going to make comments. One thing you're going to learn is you're going to be humbled by life. If you're ever an investor, you're going to be humbled by life. And you're going to start realizing that when you say stuff, time will always smack a lot of it down. You'll get some things right, and the goal is to get enough things right that you significantly outperform, that you do good. That's the point of this video. So we're going to look at my performance. We're going to look at how to beat Bitcoin even if you're wrong, even if you are a dummy, how you can beat Bitcoin. Because statistically speaking, mathematically speaking, the altcoins always beat Bitcoin. That's the way it is. That's what is proven. So I don't know why everybody talks about owning Bitcoin when we want to look at where the results are, and they're not in Bitcoin. And the basic rules for how to get the probable similar results to what I did. Okay, so this is my performance. I was going to get into a bunch of complex stuff, but I just realized that I did some more math, and I just turned it into something simple. Over the last 7 years, I've done 25% annually above Bitcoin in performance. If you don't like that, if you want to take the easy route, you just want to own Bitcoin, you can go ahead. But remember, this is when Bitcoin went from 7,000 to 70,000. I was capable of beating Bitcoin by 25% in terms of my performance over 7 years, annually compounded. That is what my performance has been for the last 7 years. And keep in mind that this is during one of the worst periods for my portfolio in terms of Bitcoin, because we are at the time making of this video, we are at a Bitcoin strength period where it has not been an altcoin season. It has been a Bitcoin season because of Bitcoin ETF and the Bitcoin halving at this particular part of the cycle. We are at an extreme low against Bitcoin. And that's what so even where I am right now, I chose a period of time when my portfolio was at a low because I don't like to sound too extreme. And so I just did the math, and that's where I'm at. And my portfolio strategy, everything I advocate for, the goal is to get you financially independent as fast as possible. My strategy has been only out. I've only ever taken out. Guess what? I started with $1,300. That's it. I moved into my grandmother's house. I bought a bunch of different investments. Hindsight 2020. I wish I put it all in Bitcoin. But I only put $1,300 to Bitcoin and it became financially independent from that amount. And that's why I went full in crypto, because I realized crypto is the only thing that's going to perform for the next 20 years. So it was the best place to put my effort. And with this only out strategy, I've been able to still do this. So what I'm advocating for is do the opposite of what I did. Go in only in strategy until you are financially independent from crypto. And that's where it is. Now, cautionary note, we are right here in the cycle, in the crypto cycle. This is my hypothesis. This is where we are. We are about halfway through the big run of the crypto cycle. The fun part is about to start. We're about to get the fun part of the alts. You know, the alts have, even with, Bitcoin showing the strength it has, the alts obviously outperform Bitcoin from the total crypto cycle low. But we are still about halfway through the crypto cycle. So I would say go half in crypto and half in others. This is my guess personally. I could be wrong. Remember, this is for idiots just like me. I'm an idiot. Like most of the comments I say are going to be wrong, but the idea is, who cares? The idea is to get the results. That's all that matters. So you put your investments into a diverse set of assets, and the ones that outperform end up being covering your mistakes. Okay, I'm saying half into crypto at this point, not all in. I was saying all in back here about 8 months ago. I was saying all in right here. I'm no longer saying all in. I'm saying half in now because we have started some of the run and we're about to get running. So it's still worth it to throw in, but I'm not saying all anymore. I'm saying the other half should go into cash building or commodities or energy, specifically energy. Okay, so that's my take on that. On that. I'm still a little sick. I'm trying to get over the sickness towards the end of it, which is good. All right. That being said, that's my performance. That's what I've done. All right. Now, we're going to show some how to beat Bitcoin even when you are wrong, even when you're an idiot, even when you're a dummy. It's going to be, we're going to use my actual performance, and then we're going to give another example. So for me, so I used the Bitcoin's strongest period, recent period, which it did a 3x, the strongest recent period that Bitcoin did. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to use, I always like to evaluate these things against Bitcoin, and I want to give Bitcoin the strongest position possible. Now, keep in mind, this is the reason why I don't know why people advocate to do a Bitcoin-only strategy. If you think the market is going up, you know the altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin. It's always happened. The altcoins have always beat Bitcoin. So if you think the market's going up, why would you own the thing that's going to go up slower? And if you think the market's going down, why would you own Bitcoin at all? You would just own cash. There is no point in owning Bitcoin as a crypto investor. I know that's craziness to announce in the crypto space. This is my take. I could be wrong, take it or leave it, but I don't see any reason to hold Bitcoin, especially if you're building wealth, because Bitcoin always underperforms the wave of the action. And if you think that things are going up, why would you want to own the one that's not going to perform as much? And if you think things are going down, why would you want to own the thing that is, why would you want to own the thing that's going to go down at all? Like, they all move together, and it's always been that way. Maybe it'll change. Who knows? Everything's probabilities. That's my take. All right. As far as my performance, I put a weighted against the recent projects that I called for the low during the bear market, the ones that I said to invest in. I even made it worse for myself because I always want to diminish the returns that I advocate for because I'm trying to make conservative things here. So what I did is I added a weight to the ones that were losers, right? Because I did talk about Luxo, so I gave it a heavy weight in this evaluation. And guess what? I still did a 10. Oh crap! I hate this thing. It did a 10x over Bitcoin. I did 10x, Bitcoin did 3x, okay, out of my high-risk portfolio, I diversified set. Remember, I always say diversified. These are the projects I talked about. I said I bought Rune, Solana, GLQ, TON, Telos, DOT, LYX, and NEAR. And this is what they did over that period of time. And as we can see, I gave them weight. I said, I talked about Luxo more, so I gave it a heavier weight, which worked against me. And I still significantly outperformed. This is how a dummy like me can be, have about half and half, 50-50 calls in terms of being Bitcoin, right? That means half of my calls are dumb. Half of them make me look stupid. And you know how many people go up to you and say, you said Luxo was going to run and it failed. You're a dumbass. Guess what? I'm agreeing. I'm stupid. But guess what? I still beat you. The people that are saying to just buy Bitcoin, you can do that if you want. This stuff takes effort. I'm not blaming the Bitcoin only strategy. If you want to just, not care about your investments and not pay attention to any of this stuff, just buy Bitcoin, you'll get that diminished return of crypto. If you really do plan on holding it through the cycle lows and cycle highs, you'll kind of get a savings rate out of it, especially today. Most of Bitcoin's performance is in the past. But with what I've done, you just do a shotgun strategy. It takes a little bit of effort. You shoot the shotgun at the targets that look like they have good teams and good investors, and I'll give you the rules for how to pick those in a minute. So I've never advocated, never have I advocated for picking one project, going all in on one project. I've never said to do that. I've also said I could be wrong because guess what? This game is about being majority wrong most of the time in crypto. I'm 50-50, so I'm not even majority wrong. I'm half and half. But guess what? You can still win. Even if you're at 60% wrong or 70% wrong, you could be that dummy who's mostly wrong and still win. Because there's a huge, like the alts, in groups, in a diversified set, always beat Bitcoin. Always. And that's just the way it is. So you earn a diversified set of altcoins that generally outperform Bitcoin. I'm not saying meme coins. I'm saying projects with good teams, with good token models, and with good backers. And if you buy them in the cycle lows, they always outperform Bitcoin in the cycle highs. It's just the way it is. In the cycles, they generally move together. Crypto generally moves together. The alts always, like a good set of alts, as a group, as an average, perform better than Bitcoin. So there's no point in even owning it. That's just my take, and that's what's proven by math. All right, so the example, if you're 90% wrong, what do you need from the one performer to do to beat Bitcoin? You would need a 25x. Okay, so 90% wrong, it's pretty hard for you to beat Bitcoin. So what we're going to do here, let me show you the math. I'm going to do an example, and then I'll show you some math, and I'll even show you my comparison to it. So let's say you do 10 projects. We're going to use 10 projects for all these examples. And let's say one performs, the other 9 go by half, which is really negative performance, right? That's what we're going to say for this math. That would give you, what you do is you get the X of the one that performed. The other 10 that you had would be at 4.5. And you compare it to Bitcoin, which is what you would need to beat Bitcoin, which is a 3x times a 10 allocation, because we're saying we put a 10 in. So, right, like 10 in, right? 1 is the performer, and the other 9 in half, right? Because they drop in terms of half, would be 4.5. Compared to if you just invested in Bitcoin, which is 30, it gives you 25x if you're 90% wrong. And guess what? There's a lot of cryptos that do 25x over Bitcoin. There's a lot. So if you were one of the type of people to pick one of those out of 10, or you can divide this by 2 and pick 20. You can divide this by 2 and pick 20 cryptos. If you think that you were going to get that kind of performance out of those 2 projects, then you can do those allocations. All right? So you need to look at yourself and know how good you are at picking projects. Are you good or are you not? And if you're not, if you're, assuming 90% wrong, 80% wrong. Now, if we even go 80% wrong for someone, it immediately drops in half and becomes that much more plausible. Many cryptos outperform Bitcoin in a single cycle by 13x. So now let's look at the math. This is something that you should look at for how to make these judgments on how the idiots, how the dummies get crypto rich. Dummies for crypto's rich. You look at alts and see how they would have performed. You can look at yourself and say, are these the ones I would have picked? Are these not the ones I would have picked? And you could look at them over a period of time and see how the math works out. The amount invested, it's basic simple stuff. The performance is the value invested starting divided by the value at the current time. So for Bitcoin, we'll say that it's 3x times the amount invested, and you could do the sum of the others. That's basically the equation, and you do them equal so you know what is needed in order for the average of the alts to outperform the performance of Bitcoin. And, basically value start, value end, and you do the sums with each amount invested. So like let's say you did it 10, you did it split up amongst them. All the average has to do, if you're 90% wrong, is this 25x. If you're 80% wrong, it has to be 13x, the average of all their performance, right? So you can have one that's like 90x and the rest are much lower, and as long as the average performance left over is 13x, that gives you the idea. And so now, with all that thinking, I did the math on the cryptos that I picked in this recent cycle. Now, keep in mind, this is where I'm saying we are right now. My mind changes all the time. Because it is a cycle. This is where things go. This is what crypto does. It goes high, up and down. Bitcoin goes up and down. The alts go up and down. Everything changes all the time. So the things I say are always changing. Okay? So understand that. Right now I'm saying only a half of crypto strategy. I'm saying you should have an outside strategy outside of crypto doing commodities, energy, or cash. Half. And half into crypto because crypto is still the best performing asset, and it's going to remain that way. And we're halfway in the cycle, so I see a huge amount of progress, but I wouldn't say all in anymore. Okay, that's where we're at right now. This is just what I'm saying. With what I've picked, the ones that I've picked so far, the average performance has been 11.3x. Okay, so that means so there's this little graph I made here based on this little graph that I have right here. It says performance of the winner, 1 of 10, if all the others dropped 50% in terms of Bitcoin, and the winner is the only one, right? Or what the average performance of those would be. And so if it's 1 of 10, that one would need a 24x. If it's 2 of 10, they would need about a 13x. If it's 3 of 10, the average of them, the average of the alts would need to be roughly 8.5. And if it's 4 of 10, the average would have to be something around 7x, okay? My average was 11.3. So what can I afford in terms of wrongness with the ones I picked with 11.3x on what I picked from this particular cycle? That would be right here. So roughly 80% wrong. I can afford to be 80% wrong, but I was calling at 50%, 50-50. So that all of this in between is the dummy premium. My dumb, stupid self had a premium. There was some dumbness affordability between Bitcoin's performance that existed. I'm willing to bet for you it's the same way. That's the emphasis of this entire video. This is the bottom line of this entire video, that I'm willing to bet on you that there is a dumbness premium that you have over 80, whatever the average is of the set of the cryptos you pick, whatever the average performance is over a period of time, because we know that alts typically, on average, outperform Bitcoin. That creates a dumbness premium. You can be a level of dumb. You can afford some level of dumbness, and whatever you can afford is the equal relationship to Bitcoin, is the premium, is the profit. That's what you make. But guess what? This still takes effort. This takes buying cryptos during the bear markets, or even now, still buying cryptos, and then exiting them when things get hot, or just holding them for the long run. I typically, I do, believe me or not, I hold many of them. Like when I make them free, I hold them forever because some become huge cornerstones of the space. All right, even though it is a quickly changing space, right? But that being said, there is this premium, and it's still quite there. Like like at the making of this video, Ethereum just had its ETF approved, so my performance is even about to get a whole lot better because a lot of my portfolio is just holding Ethereum. But I wanted to use a cycle low. This was actually right when that announcement is, so the price hasn't really reflected it yet. But this is a huge moment in crypto. This is one of the biggest moments. Like the altcoins are about to run. But anyways, the bottom line of this video: how can you get crypto rich for dummies? Pick a bunch of good altcoins. You can pick a bunch of blue chip altcoins in any particular cycle, and then you can exit them into cash when you think the market's going to turn. And you shouldn't, just don't waste your time on Bitcoin, because we know that if you think it's going to go up, if you're right about that, the alts are going to outbeat Bitcoin. And if you think it's going to go down, then there's no point in Bitcoin. You just hold cash or some other investment class. Okay, that is the emphasis. The altcoins, on average, beat Bitcoin, and you could do the math on the ones you would have picked, see what they would have done over any time period compared to Bitcoin. Right? This is just their performance in general. And you can see the premium, the dummy premium that you could afford. My dummy premium is 50% wrong. Half of the projects I pick fail. Half. That means like some people come at me and they say, "Oh, you picked Luxo, you're a dummy, you're stupid." Guess what? Mathematically speaking, there's going to be a bunch of projects that I fail at. Of course, the person who throws everything into one coin is most likely, or at least with me, 50-50, the person who throws in everything into one coin is 50-50 likely to fail. Never throw everything in one coin. I've never said to do that. Anyways, that's how dummies can get rich in crypto. Okay, my tips. How to do well. So once again, I'm emphasizing one last time, I'm only half in. Alexa, stop. For this particular time, I'm saying that you should only go halfway in to crypto projects at this time, because it's that part of the cycle. Diversify quality. Only do it if you have an advantage. These are my tips, right? Only do it if you have an advantage. You should invest in something if you've done some research, if it's something you're a specialty in, whatever, if you have a connection, or like as I've done with the Intrepid token, we do seed rounds now. And why do we do seed rounds? Because we have an advantage. It gives you an advantage in the market, so which we're doing half as much now because of the cycle we're in. But the crypto token, Intrepid token, gives you an advantage. So only do it if you have an advantage. Think long term. Let other people smarter than you do the work. Once again, with the seeds, with the Intrepid token, we go in the seed rounds. And what we do is we look at projects that have solid VCs behind them. And that's our first screen. And then we look at them. Never use emotions, but understand the self and the market. So don't use emotions to make decisions, but do understand your emotions and understand the emotions of the market. Don't trade, just buy and hold quality. You are fine to change your mind at any given time. Who cares? Like even if you make a following like me or you do anything else, you're okay to change your mind. You're free to change your mind whenever you want. Like that, you're an independent person. The market's constantly changing. Market dynamics constantly changing. Projects come and they go. Projects fail. Some projects succeed. You're change your mind as much as you need to. Try, pick up ideas as easily as you put them down. Don't get tied to your beliefs. Understand that things change all the time. And don't be too confident on any single pick. That's one of the mistakes I've made throughout my crypto career. These are all things I've learned. I think I can even do better than I've done in the past with a 25% annual over Bitcoin performance. But remember, this is this performance with an only out strategy from 1300. All right, so keep that in mind. I've only taken money out. I've never put money in. If you put money in, if you're just constantly putting money in a DCA, which is what I advocate, you should get financially independent in no time at all. Don't be too confident on any single pick. Don't go all in on one single project, even if you're really confident. Remember, the odds are against you on any single project. I've done 50-50 in my calls, right? And yet that's actually makes a lot of money. But guess what? If I put all my eggs in one basket, then that destroys the dummy premium. That destroys the dummy premium of just the statistical performance of the alts. The statistical prediction of the alts is that they're going to outperform Bitcoin, but you want to capture that. And by capturing that is by putting equal allocations and don't go too heavy in any single one. All right, guys, hopefully you found this video useful. Keep in mind, my Patreon helps support this channel, keeps things like this free and for the public, as well as my Intrepid token, which is a community of seed investors, and as well as the bot, which evaluates projects on a scale of mathematical performance and comes up with correlations to say which ones are going to be performers. So if you are part of Patreon, you get access to that bot. And if you do the Intrepid token, you get access to our seed round community as well as the bot. So feel free to help support this through Patreon or do the Intrepid token and get access to our seed rounds and the bot. All right, later, guys. Hopefully you found this video helpful.